Shot for goal, shot for goal, shot for goal, shot for goal! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on wherever you may be tuning in from. Thanks for joining us once again on Shot for Goal. A recap, a preview, a look at all things happening in the world of Ultimate right now. I'm your host, Stefan Rapazzo, alongside my wonderful co-host, Noah Brinkworth. How you doing, Nono?
Good, mate. It's been a bank holiday weekend here in the UK, so had a few days to relax, and there was some Frisbee going on at the weekend. Steph, you wanted to start with some congratulations.
Yeah, and I think, the UFA, recently rebranded from the AUDL, is a brand of Ultimate that I follow a little bit. I must say, over the last 2 years, and this year mostly, I've been following a bit more because of the European invasion. And I think that's really why we are going to touch on it at the top of the show here, because one of our very own, a European player, Toba de Krana, was sensational in Boston Glory's championship weekend. They won. They were really dominant. They took apart the shred, and then they had a tight enough game against Minnesota. But I think it was a late surge by Minnesota. Boston hung on to the lead, kind of played the clock away you can in the UFA. But Toba was sensational. I think he had 9 assists in the semi and 7 in the final, handful of goals. He was chucking trust balls to the big receivers. You'd think Babbitt, who was also awesome, but Orion Cable was incredible on the other end of a lot of deep bombs from De Krana. And I think a nice way to kick off the show is to show some love for Toba. Check him out on Toba Fit. He does all his training. If you guys do subscribe and follow, you know how hard that dude works. He's an absolute machine, weapon of a player. I think in everybody's mind, he has been a receiver, a upfield cutter for so much of his career. But the more you watch him, the more you will surely know by now that he is a well-rounded player. Those step-around forehand blades are becoming a signature throw of his. But again, no matter what we say is signature of Toba, he's got more tricks than we can ever seem to imagine. And I think for him, as he said, like, this has been his goal for almost as long as he's been playing. And big congratulations to one of Tokai Super Team's own, Toba de Krana.
Great to see him bounce back after a tricky U24s as well. Like, I think it was really impressive with that Belgian team who didn't have down like they had in 2023 to get all the way to that final, but they did had a disappointing final, Toba in particular, and to see him bounce back and perform very well in the final, which perhaps he was the Glory were a favourite in, but Winchell were coming in as the reigning champions. They took an unexpected win last year in windy conditions, similar to this year, but kept sneaking through, though people were doubting them. But this time, I think the Glory put together a great UFA season. You always talk about well-tested versus well-rested, Steph, and out in the East, they get massive tests from DC, New York, even Montreal and Philly.
The reboot rush this year.
Well. And it was how much of a trouble were they giving them? It was but like I think
they
even
tight games, they just couldn't win.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, the rush were tight, and we'll double down on that call to go check him out on the social media. I've actually, not to play too much promo stuff, but I've bought the Toba Fit program before, and I quite enjoyed it for my few months leading up to U24s. I would buy it again. The final thing is that he was not the only European player who made the journey out to Player of the Glory this year. We've got to give some props to Seb Arossi as well.
Yeah, that's true. It's easy to put Toba on the pedestal above many of his teammates. He was the finals MVP. I believe we're still waiting for the league MVP. He's been in the conversation, but as far as I've just searched, it doesn't seem like that's been announced. I know he's in that conversation along with a couple of his teammates. Babbitt, one of the foremost in that
And he was
conversation. But
rookie
yeah,
of the year last year as well, Steph.
yeah,
So
to go
straight
from
from that
rookie
to
of the
finals
year to
MVP.
MVP is already finals MVP, potentially still league MVP. Very impressive. But yeah, you're right. Sebarossi, the Italian ex BFD La Fota, goes over, and he kind of flew under the radar. It was picked up late. Orion Cable called him over. They played together in 2022 World Clubs together. That was the connection there. He goes over and end up being a D-line grinder, and you'd hate to have Seba Rossi on you as a D-line grinder. The dude is an absolute weapon, probably the best Italian player, at least in the conversation of the best 2-3 Italian players. And yeah, that Boston Glory team just had no holes, full of depth and deserved champions.
Excellent stuff. Let's move on to our next topic of today. Upcoming this weekend is UKU Nationals. It is a UK run their nationals a little bit different to some of the other nations in Europe. There's less kind of like a league system, less like a Division 1, Division 2. We just run some tournaments, play regionals, and then play nationals, Division 1 and Division 2 nationals. We're gonna have streams from Division 1 nationals. I believe we have 2 fields, Steph. Is that right?
No, I think we're down to one.
We're down to one. Okay.
We are
So
down
we'll
to one
have the
field. There's
showcase
been
as
some.
normal, all the
Yep.
important games, the finals, obviously important stuff going on for WUC bids as well. I think there's 3 open, 2 mixed, and I believe 2 women's, but it might be 3 in women's. I'll have to
Okay,
double
we'll try
check
and
that.
get to the bottom of that as we go here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to the Ham, one of my favorite haunts in England. Why are you shaking your head, Noah?
Oh,
Isn't that what
sorry.
everybody calls it?
I thought you were talking about a different ham, but
No,
I
there's only one the Ham. Then there's the B Ham. But
oh
the
no,
A
we're not
level.
going to the B ham.
No, we are
We're
going
going
to
to the Nottingham.
not, as I think it would probably be a bit more commonly known by real England vernacular, but I call it the Ham, and I love it. And the sheriff will be there, Robin Hood will be there, Maid Marian, and all the rest. Maybe not, but who will be there is yes, this wealth of UK talent that I'm really stoked. I'm going to be there. You're going to be there playing in the mixed division. No, let's start in the mixed division. How does that sound? You want to break down the division first? We want to break down how they got there. I got a couple of brackets in front, like how the North played out and how
Yeah,
qualifying
nah.
went in.
I've got it all in the head. I know exactly what's going on this weekend. So, um,
Break it down.
coming through North regionals, winning was Lemmings, and then Heck came second, and Glasgow third, and Sheffield Steel knocking out Newcastle Brown for the 4th spot. They're new to Div 1 Nationals, I think, or definitely haven't played since we dropped from 12 teams in Div 1 to just 8. In the south, pretty normal story. Deep Space from Reading from BN1, and then bring up the real is Thundering Herd. The pools work out, so it's like the 1 and 3 from the south, and like the 2 and 4 from the north, and
Okay.
vice versa, right? So there's one pool where it's Deep Space, Heck, BN1, and Sheffield Steel, and the other is Lemmings, Reading, Glasgow, and Thundering Herd. And it's a pretty simple system. On Saturday we play pool play. Top 2 go through, no quarterfinal round, just straight to semis. And we play out semis and finals. There's no backdoor stuff going on for the bids. So if you, in the 2 bid divisions like mixed is, if you win that semi, you get a WUC spot.
So you got to make the final to go to walk.
Yeah, yeah, and I
And
think that
then
people thought that this the WUC conversation wouldn't be a little bit less interesting this year because normally Deep Space and Reading are kind of at the top of the division. But I think Reading have had a tricky season. They got they got beat at summer tour here by Heck. Heck won that summer tour, which is in Sterling and mostly based of UK teams. They've struggled to get their full roster together, and that means they've had some close results, some losses. BN1, we played them close at regionals, a 13-11 loss when we played them to get into the final. So they seem more beatable this year. I really think that though they might be the favourites for the final, I think the complexion of the division right now is that Deep Space are right at the top, feel pretty unstoppable. And then teams 2 through 7 really strong. I think that like the 2 through 7, the order could go any which direction. And then I think that Herd are at the bottom.
and they squeaked in.
Base, huh?
They squeaked in essentially. They took that 8th spot.
There's not like a big competition for that spot, I would say, really. But compared to, I think they're less scary than Sheffield Steel, the newcomers, because Sheffield Steel's top end is so strong. They've got, they haven't got the deep depth of a squad, but they've got 2 players in Helen Thompson and Woody Ben Hall who have like elite experience, who are both probably top 10
Sorry, that's
players
Sheffield.
of their gender in the UK. Yeah, Sheffield.
Right.
So
I like that we had the Sheffield Steel mixed was our headline when they did win it. They stole that spot. No, it doesn't like. Okay, so if Deep Space are the favorites here, you say 2 through 7. I gotta think 2 and 3 have a little bit of a leg up, and then I'm seeing 4 through 7 as the mix here. Like Lemmings, Reading, like as much as Reading has struggled, if they've got their full roster, like I mean, have they been full roster losses that they took against Heck? Are they a team that's on a downswing here? I know Lemmings. Everything I've heard is that Deep Space sucked up a whole bunch of their talent. They got got good, got attractive, and got peppered in recruitment. For me, Lemmings and Reading, I just went through their rosters, and I'm gonna pull them back up again so I can reevaluate. But those two, again, they play on the European circuit, so I see a lot more of them. Am I out of line to say that those two should be the next 2 in contention?
I think that there's a great argument for Heck. Someone was telling me the other day that Heck kind of play to the level of the team they're playing against, whoever it is. So, I mean, they played at Sheffield Steel to a 13-12 game. But I think you can, if you want to shorten, I think you have to add Heck into that conversation, given they won Summer Tour against Reading.
Right.
So they're right up there. I think they get a little bit stronger this year. I think they had some pieces last year who were a little bit off the pace for Div 1 nationals, and I wouldn't be surprised if they've moved on and other players have come into their place. I'm a bit scared of Matthew Miller, who's a really great American player with a bunch of experience coming into the team as well. And like you just can't deny the results. They've beat a Glasgow team that's strengthened like all throughout the year. They beat Reading, like they played close games against Lemmings. So I think you can make a quicker argument for the 2 through 4, and I think that Heck team is more scary than you might be giving them credit for. I would say that Glasgow and BN1 and Sheffield have more outside chances. I think basically all of their arguments come down to their top end talent. Glasgow always have great strength like depth on the field matching side because Scram, the women's team in Scotland, folded. So just the level of all of the FMPs is super solid. And they add Joel Terry, who's had loads of GB Open experience. When we played them at Spring Tour, Joel Terry played 80 or 90% of the points, caught 30 or 40% of the passes on the field, and was completely unstoppable. So their route is run it through Joel Terry as quick as possible. I think our argument, BN1, is that we've got like a bunch of top end as well. We've got like it's a little bit of Clapham retirement home kind of place. You know, we've got Alex Cragg and Hayden Slaughter both playing. We have Izzy Collins, who played GB. I think Don Burnham does so much for our squad. So yeah, top end as well. And then Sheffield still have the same argument. Top end, Helen Thompson, Woody, both players who are feared in any division at any time, who would be like pushing for world games kind of spots. And maybe they might be the most top heavy with the most lacking of depth. But, you know, I think that if you're like a Reading through Heck team, or Reading and Lemming specifically, I think they should be going out with like defenses to really try and shut down the top two players. It's going to matter how well their like top defenders can do against these players who are, you know, like at a very elite level, but playing more locally. So playing on a more relaxed team.
So you're talking about playing locally. I mean, 5 Deep Space in at 3, Lemmings in at 6, 10 for Reading, 11 for Glasgow, 13 for Heck are going to EUCF this year. BN1 are the tightest to miss out at 22, Thundering Herd at 24. Then you see Newcastle Brand. It looks like Sheffield didn't nominate to play Europeans. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't think I saw them playing any of the UCS events.
So
they're really more of a local team
here.
Yeah,
we've got advanced ultimate coaching in the chats calling Sheffield Steel the dark horse here. So I think I'll give a little bit of agreement upon that one as well.
They might have the 2 best players in the division, Steph. I don't think that there's players who are better than Helen Thompson or Woody, like on Deep Space. Like, seriously.
Ooh, big. That's a big statement.
I'm not even sure Deep Space would get that angry at that. Though. like maybe like Layla has a great argument, I would say.
Yeah, I think Layla does. I mean, Bex Palmer, you got to consider in there. Hannah Yorworth,
Rachel
Halkier, Ian Tate. I think there's like so many that would stand. Or Rachel Naden. Yeah, I think I would put Rachel Naden ahead of Helen Thompson and even Alana Archer. Jeez, I'd still say it's a bold statement, and I would bet you that Deep Space would not happily accept that statement, but we'll find out. Max Squires will surely be the first one into my Instagram messaging.
We're getting clipped as like if Grabco, if you can just play some white noise over all of our takes so their Instagram videos sound a little bit worse, that would be great. Cheers.
I am a big fan of Woody though. He is, and Andy. He runs a tattoo shop, I think, too. So he or is a tattoo artist, something like this. But
the man's tatted up. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, he's heavily inked and gets extra clout for all that as well in my books.
Let's make some picks, Steph. Give me semi-finalists and finalists.
All right. I mean,
you need 2 from each pool. I can remind you of the pools.
This is the division that is probably runs the deepest in European. So I should have some, but I still believe that I know the other 2 divisions better always. I do happen to have my finger on the pulse in open and women's a bit more than mixed. However, to pick okay, so I can't. Deep Space is going to make the final, and I think I will. I'm not going to pick my finalists or my champion yet, but I've kind of alluded to it already in just saying that. I will say I cannot see Reading not making a semifinal either, as much as they have had their struggles. Yep. I believe those 2 are in. I'm not going to guarantee that Reading's in, though. But I mean, I think I see Pool A being stronger. Heck being 1 and Sheffield. Lemmings are Lemmings legit? Are Lemmings all they're cracked out to be? Beating the likes of Heck, Sheffield Steel, and Herd on their way in. I think like the other side of the draw was tough. I'm gonna say Deep Space and Reading are in the final. Have I gone too far by not letting you in with your picks? I'll give you the 2 semifinalists. Will be, I will say Heck, and I kind of want to back you, Noah, but I'm nervous.
You can't back me and Heck. You can't do both. If you want Heck, you can't have me.
Why?
So if you want Deep Space Reading, because there's no quarters.
Oh yeah,
there's
only
no crosses,
2
no
can
quarters.
get out.
Huh?
Yeah, right. Then I am
Yeah.
gonna go to Chalk. No, that's so lame. I'm gonna go Deep Space and backing Noah. You better get it done, Noah. You son of... No, I'm kidding. Deep Space and BN1, and then I'm gonna go Reading and Glasgow. I'm gonna say Lemmings slip here.
Damn. Still with picks, man.
Did I?
I do think, yeah, I do think that. But I'll screw it. Oh, I'm gonna say same semi-finalists that I like Glasgow. Like Joel Terry on fire is we couldn't stop him, to be honest. So I'm gonna say that they beat Lemmings. That Lemmings come out the way. Even if Lemmings beat Reading, they just get screwed by the three-way tie. I heard some news of who Lemmings cut. I was surprised at that, so I was like, not sure.
Well, are you gonna share, or is this
back it.
on the down
They
low?
cut Bruin right before Nationals.
Ben Bruin.
Then, yeah.
Jeez, that guy's doesn't seem cuttable. Wow.
Yeah. So I was pretty shocked by that. He told me I was at indoor trials at the weekend and he was observing.
And he's too
And
late
he said he got cut.
He's too late to pick up somewhere else, I guess. Rosters are
He's roster
set.
locked as well. So he was at playing at them with regionals. It's like, so I think that's a crazy decision.
Yeah,
Because
I'm not,
I don't
mean,
think he's the best player on the team, but I think he's like top half. I think he's pretty good. Like,
yeah,
and
but, I mean, unless he's aged like 20 years in the last 6 months, I don't know what's going on.
yeah, it's like, yeah, he's not the youngest player ever, but he's not the oldest as well. You know, we've got Clapham to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, big diss,
Ooh,
but I love
ooh.
it. All right, well, so who's your finalist then?
I'm gonna go
shake it all out.
BN1 and Deep
Finalist,
Space.
BN1, Deep Space, Noah backing himself all the way through.
We play against Reading. Deep Space crush Glasgow. We play against Reading, nick it, and then we get crushed in the final.
Okay.
We'd not. If we got to the final, we'd not. You guys
If
shouldn't
you get
even
to the
stream
final, you get your
Go stream the 3-4.
No, stop it. Well, I will.
We will be
I
like
will
beers
go
on
a
the
bit more
sideline by then.
conventional. I'll go a bit more conventional with the final. I like my Gux and Benoit, but I will take Deep Space to beat Reading in the final.
Sweet. Which way do you want to go? Do you want to go women's or do you want to go open?
Easy like Sunday morning. I'm reading bottom to top because mixed women's open. So let's do it that way. Let's go into the women's division. I think the women's division has the most parity, especially with recent summer tour results and all what's going on over there. Like I just think there are so many potential champions.
Seeding is interesting here as well, Steph. Are you seeing this? So
we got
in the C pool is Smog, Iceni, LMU, and Bristol 2. And in that order. So Smog ahead of Iceni. Interesting.
And so now I'm looking. I got two computers here, but so as far as European ranking, Iceni takes the 4, Bristol takes the 10. Then 12-13 is Smog Spice, and it was didn't somebody? No, that's it. I thought Sick. No, they're not even.
It was Spice who came in and
at the finished hot, right? Sick. They dropped down to 21. Bristol take the London Invite Championship this year. That's a huge win for them. I think that was a big character builder. Will Molly Wedge be back after World Games? That is a big question mark, I think.
Huge question.
But yeah, so Smog top seed, Iceni top seed in Europe. LMU can, as much as I don't see them as the strongest beginning to end of the tournament, I do see them as a team that can win any given game. So could do just well enough, get into a semi, and really, knock out Smog or Iceni. Bristol 2, they're not going to win. Spice, and was it? now I'm trying to go back to London Invite. Bristol.
It was Spice and Bristol. Spice and Bristol have
yeah.
had a bit of a battle this year. There've
Yeah,
been
so-
like a load of times where Spice has been like knocking right
Up.
on the door, and then Bristol shuts it in their face. So
Mm.
Spice had the disc on Universe at the front of the end zone and turfed it. Bristol go the other way to make the final on London Invite before they win it. Beat Iceni in that game.
So, like I see Sick as an outside chance. I see LMU as a real legitimate spoiler.
Mhm.
And then the top four are, I mean, the top four are, I think there's really a top, no, there aren't, like Smog, Iceni, Bristol, Spice, but because I see LMU as this spoiler, is it really a legitimate top four? Because I think I'm going to pick LMU to ruin the day of either Smog or Iceni here.
Well, this is the thing. I don't want to spoil my picks, but I have thoughts there. Go for it, Steph. Give me semi-finalists and finalists.
I'm just doing like a little roster. Van Zyl, Melvin Tang, Cat Pope.
Let me have a little
Ellie
talk
Taylor,
about how I see the division while you
Fee
peruse roster
Kwan,
Steph.
Hannah Body. Yeah, they are like Iceni should. It's really, I think, my X factor, and I'm mostly surprised to see Smog right at the top. I think that is what Gigi Morrison might kill me for being surprised about it. But I am. So I'm going to just go give one more squiz to
I think the
Smog.
difference maker for Smog has been like Hannah Quinn and her leadership and this season. I think she was arguably the best player on the GBU24 team who got that bronze. She's the captain
Emily
of
Hill
Smog.
is there. We're talking about the
Emily Hill's very good.
under-24s.
They're a young team.
And so they are, yeah. Lucy Hyde. Okay. Well, I will still stick with the oldies are going to get the youngies, and I will say Iceni, LMU, Bristol Spice. So I'll start there. And Smog are going to get knocked off their number one seed and not make a semi.
I'm going to take Smog, Iceni, Bristol, and Spice. And that's boring. I see the LMU spoiler effect. I do think that they're not quite as strong as they were, in 2022, 2023. A bit redundant to say that, given they actually won nationals a few years ago. I think in 2022. So surely they're not as strong as then. But I like them more as a spoiler if they come in that fifth seed, where Sick are, and then they get the game against Spice to try and break into the top four. I think that Smog and Iceni will be too strong. I think of that top four, it's Spice who are the most beatable, but I think Spice also can give the other three a good game. So yeah, I have it that Smog, Bristol, and Iceni are all pretty tight at the top. There's a tier for Spice, and then I think that LMU and Sick and Horizon kind of sit in a tier where LMU top that tier, and then Bristol 2 is in a tier below, and they got kind of smashed at the qualifying event for this stuff. So I'm not sure they're going to be doing much, but I love to see that the division get filled up.
Yeah, that's
and
great. Always.
Having a proper team there instead of the Chameleons were fun too, but the Chameleons were just like basically a pickup team that would often fill that 8th seed slot in women's.
Yeah. So I like your picks, but I'm still happy enough. Like LMU's just got to win that small. They could go get beat by Iceni almost intentionally, which they wouldn't do. But beat Bristol. They just got to win one game. And again, the veterans can always do that. They can always put it together for one. So I will stick with it. Like Smog used that as fuel, I suppose. The tagging game said we were going to lose.
The positive case for LMU is that this year they got to the Wind Farm final, where basically all of the UK club teams enter. GBU24s entered that and won and beat LMU handily in that final, but stripped away from those teams when all of those U24 players are stripped away from the club teams. It was LMU that came out on top, of all the club teams. So that's a positive data point for them. I think that they're a team that like understand that their players are not going to be going to like every tournament, going to all of the destination tournaments, but they come together for nationals, and so they've got a great chance. They've got a lot of
Okay,
talent. Jenna Thompson, Claire
because
Sharman, elite
yes,
players.
some of the greatest. So let's talk about how our semis will go. So if I get Iceni LMU, that'll be Iceni against Spice and Bristol against LMU. And I see it as Iceni Bristol getting to the final.
Yep, I have Iceni Spice and I have Smog Bristol. I think that Iceni will top, and so will Bristol. I think Iceni beats Spice, and who I want, Smog or Bristol? I think I do want Bristol. I think that Bristol have a little bit more depth, have been there more frequently. If Molly Wedge is back as well, that's an X factor. She's got to be feeling real good coming off that great campaign with Canada.
I thought she played for GB. Oh wait, they weren't at the World Cups. We've got a UK
triggering the
audience
chat right now,
too.
Steph.
We've got a UK audience. Okay, so
there's a chance that Molly Wedge has been spending a lot of time in UK tournaments coaching Bristol Open. So there's a chance that she'll be back and not playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and who's your champion? You want to go first?
I have Iceni. I actually think that they have it's fine. 2025 has finally been the time where they're playing above the sum of their parts. Like since the pandemic, they've been having great players and they have not been extracting the best results from them. At times in 2024, they played well, but this year, I really like their results in Europe. Like I think that getting like fifth in that elite invite field is actually really, really solid. Like being just behind like your Shouts, Krutz, and that kind of caliber of team. Jinx, I can't remember who finished off that top four, but I think that they're doing like a lot more in Europe. Their season looks better to me. So I like them, and I think that their leadership, I think, has changed a decent amount this year, and having leaders like Maddie Leong, who I think is an elite player. She's obviously had 2 U24 cycles, the dub in Logroño. There's U24 women across these cycles, but Hannah Quinn as well is leading a team, as is Maddie Leong. And I think her leadership as well as the Iceni London depth is gonna win it this time round.
All right, I like all your points, and I could easily jump on the same, but I will just counter you. I'm hoping that Molly Wedge is there. I think, Molly Wedge, Carla Link, elite players have done it at the highest level, can lead a team like this going down through there. Of course, ULTI.TV zone, Amelia Durbin, a champ, Ellie Payne, another great roster. I think the depth on Iceni, Laurel Piper, Lisa Hawke, it's a great team. Natalie Oldfield. There's a bit more depth on Iceni. Right, Tash Collins, you got some size. But I do think that the top end talent for Bristol, if they're going to win, they may have to shorten at the very end of the tournament. They're gonna need that whole roster to get them through. But if they can shorten at the right time and you lean on their top end, that's going to be Bristol's angle in to be able to effectively use timeouts to come in and out of half times and breaks with their top liners double shifting after breaks, this kind of stuff. I think that is a way that Bristol will have a chance to steal the championship. So
Steph goes Bristol.
Let's
move on to Open.
Bristol, because I have a feeling that on the other side, I'm happy to give some love to the Bristol women, because it's quite possible the Bristol men, they keep tagging me in posts after I say things, and then somehow they continue to qualify for, well, EUCF, which is
Would you
mind
call it
blowing.
fraudulently, Steph?
I
Fraudulently
wouldn't call it
qualify?
fraudulently. I would call it.
Oh, why not? I think it would be nice if you called it fraudulently.
Well, they're not frauds. They are just somehow under this cloak of invisibility or something. They just are pulling the wool over the eyes of whoever's letting them into tournaments without top teams.
I didn't know you'd
Uh,
make it worse. Good job.
yeah, but whatever they're doing, they found ways in. I'll get tagged again, and I don't care. But let's go through the open division here. Clapham, number 1 seed, Chevy, Smog, Bristol, Smashed or Smash D. I guess it's Smash D. Alba, Leeds, and Kapow are in. When you talk about championship potential, it's tough to go past one. Noah, we saw Chevy do it only a few years back, but because it has been, it had been 20 years uninterrupted, they took it back with a vengeance. The year they took it back, it's got to be Clapham at the top of the conversation. Are they having the greatest year of their existence? No, they're not. They have not. They were quite good at US Open, but struggled to get wins. They played a lot of tight games. Managed to beat Buzz Bullets, but lost to 2 European counterparts in Moon and BFD La Foto while over there. They really struggled at Elite Invite. They've been messing with their roster. They've had their excuses. They're changing things up. They're integrating. They get their 2 new coaches, but they're not going to go out and lose this. This is, for me, their last chance to put it together. And I think there's not going to be a surprise. I think they are going to have it together for this event. They will have their lines fixed. They will have a shortened O-line. I assume. I don't think we're going to see any tri-lines or, fancy crap. They will have a shortened O-line. They will have their soldiers rotating 2 D-lines, and they're going to win nationals. And so that is the easy part. Easy part of this prediction, easy part of this conversation is to talk about the very top, I think. I think everybody always wants to see them pushed and challenged, and there's a handful of teams that can give them, if they put everything together for one game, can make a good game of it, but I really struggle to see them getting knocked off. I do expect an undefeated championship from Clapham.
I'm tempted, Steph. Let me make the case for Chevy, okay? The case is that most of the good young talent over the last post-pandemic times has been going to Chevy. And there's exceptions. We've got the Josh East, Brooking, this year Rana Sarin, who is really, really impressed. A London invite in the US Open has joined. But on balance, that the Chevy team is younger. The young players are really elite, like Sweetnam, Rodri, Cam Weir, Snake,
Ethan Morrell,
Ben Tempest. I'm not sure Ethan's going to be playing. He is very, very good, but I think he's been struggling a lot with injury this season.
Okay.
So I'm not sure he's quite back. Cody Elliott-Edwards.
Yep.
Yeah, who's maybe one of the best scorer. Maybe the best goal scorer in Europe. He is, very unstoppable in the end zone. So all of these players are in that kind of like 21 to 26 range. They are already at the top of Chevy, I think, alongside players like Ben Burak and among others. Are proper, and these players are taking bigger roles. They're getting better. And at the other end, Clapham are obviously aging. And players like Justin Ford, Ollie Gordon, Magnus Wilson aren't getting any younger, right? So
But isn't there
the
a
long
case
run thought.
isn't there a case to say that as much as Chevy have invested in their youth, they are just doing a top and bottom. They've still got Matt Bevan, they've still got Steve Colthammer, they've still got Mark Penny, they've got Kime.
Where
Like
are you looking at this roster stuff?
is that not a this? I'm looking on EUC roster.
I've heard that some of these players are that like Bevan and Penny were invited back for like summer tour, and that weren't on the main playing roster. I could be wrong,
Uh,
and they could have they could have impressed and then a summer tour and then made their way back onto the team. I could also have the wrong information there, but I've heard that some of the older players from Chevy have left, and I think that's like, if that is true, I think that's good that they seem to be regenerating. That players were taking bigger positions are
but I'm just saying, there's a
moving on for the
handful:
team.
Martin Hall, Hodgett, Cartwright. Like it's even if this is not totally accurate, but Bevan with Penny, with Kime, with Jule, there's both Cartwrights. There is a handful there that have to. They're not all going to just be names on the roster that aren't going to show up and play. So as
That's
much as
true, Steph.
there is
But
a
I would
greater
say that
investment in youth for Chevy, they
that's
are
true.
still. But to be very honest, I quite like the balance of youth and experience, and that is something that maybe Clapham has less of. They are way more heavily situated on the experience side.
And it's not even the like super young players that Clapham are kind of missing. It's the players in like the 26 to 30 range, that your prime age players that people think like you'd immediately think, okay, Connor and Conrad, but I think they're like pushing past 30, and like
Yeah,
part like
I know
even players like
Connor's
Rag and
into his 30s now, 31 perhaps. No, even more.
Mhm.
Let us know, Connor, you're listening. Anyhow, so we'll get to this in our picks then. But
Should
Bevan
we
did
talk a
play
little bit further down the
regionals.
division as well?
Yes, that's exactly where what I'm was about to suggest. But if we go through the rest of the division, so those are of course the two prime suspects to make the final. They've done it year after year after year. They are uh, yeah, expected champions, and the last team to do it 2 years ago was Chevy. They're as high as anyone is in the European rankings, so they are great suspects. Then the three seed is Smog Open, then Bristol Open, Alba, Smash D. Let's talk about those four, and then we'll get into the bottom seeds of Kapow and Leeds. But Smog smashed. Is it Smash D or is it Smash? Every time I get told something different, I think it's Smash D.
I think
But
it's Smash D. I
yeah,
played for the team stuff, and I'm not even sure I can give you 100% on that. But
Con-
I'm gonna go Smash D.
Connor's lying in the chat right now saying he's 28. I don't believe him.
He's not. Don't you want to play Masters, Connor?
Okay, so Smash D. We've got our boy Jed over there. We're like, I get some love for Jed, of course, but they're gonna need more than
Playing on
just
what
my
team?
love for
Playing on what team?
Smashed.
But I don't think so.
Is he not?
But I think he's not in this continent, bruv. He
Why
is he's going to AOUGC. He was playing Chevy, maybe Chevy training squad.
Ah,
He's at the moment he's out in Asia, and he's going to go to AOUGC and play with the Malaysian national team.
all
So
right.
he could come back, but he'll be coming
CJ
back and going straight back to
Colicchio
Japan.
over there.
I think for
For,
Smashed, right, the big players are Christian Turville, the leader, talisman, has been there for a long time. CJ Colicchio left Reading, went to Smashed, and then there's the question mark of Robbie Haynes.
remember, Robbie
Robbie
Haynes is
Haynes,
on their Euro roster.
I think if those three are playing, they're going to be really strong.
Tommy
And I think,
Garwood.
yeah, Cameron Rowland had a great season for them as well, moving from Kapow into that slot. Yeah, so I think that Smash D have had some depth problems. I think that especially their like kind of post 20th player depth is pretty poor and like been uniquely poor this year. So they at tournaments where they've had harder time struggle fielding a lot of their better players, they've really had tough times and losing to like Lemmings Open and like getting smashed by some of like other top UK teams. You've got to expect for nationals they're going to bring their best squad. So if we look at that four, I think I have it the same order, but given that Robbie is playing, I'm going to switch Smashed and Alba and say that Smashed are in the fifth of where I expect, and that Alba in the sixth. They lost Joel Terry this year, and instead David Steedman. I don't know if he moved down this year or if it was 2 years ago, but he was a good player for Alba as well. That team is deep, but it seems to be lacking a little bit of like top end bite for me, and they've played close games, and I think they've beaten all of those teams in the other three Alba this year, but I think they may have lost to them as well. They have lost to them as well, and maybe more frequently.
Okay, so
I do think.
You go on.
No, you go ahead, mate.
What do we think of the Rats? The Bristol Rats. Is that what they're officially called?
They're Bristol Open, but they are the Rats.
They're the Rats. So, okay, they have got lucky. They've got lucky, but they are like I going down the roster again. Chris Barrett, who was part of your under-24, Dom Knight, Harry Mason.
Sam Cam is the big name.
Pants. Sam Cam, of course, yes. GGW, Gabriel Gatewood Wolf has impressed. Henry Juma of Diskin recognition has been good and getting better. Sam Cam, as you said, is the big name here, but they're plucky. They're clearly getting better. I don't know if they're still Molly Wedge coached. Are they able to knock off a Chevy? Are they an assured bronze medalist, or are they really just in the conversation of 3 to 6?
No, I think that they're not even perhaps the third power rank team. Clip me all you want there, Bristol, but I think that probably, and I think that you struggling to find names there, Steph, is perhaps slightly evident of the problem. That I feel like the depth is not quite there, and a lot of their pieces for it, feels more like a 2023 year when like players like Gabe Wolf and Oscar Ellis and Chris Barrett and these younger players who are still like uni players, U24 eligible. In 2025, this roster would like in 2 years' time, this roster is going to be insane when all of those players have got like loads and loads of reps. But I think they're just a little bit lacking in depth for me. Whereas I look at Smog, and maybe they don't have a player quite as good as Sam Cam. Plant Hately is good. Nick Williams is good. Maybe Nick Williams is right up there, really. But I think their depth is stronger. So I have them as kind of the 3 in the power rankings for me.
You got Smog.
Yeah, so big players there for them. Alex Plant Hately, Brian Lee's been very good this year as a receiver. Connor Saxby had an outing for the Irish U24 team. Eddie Codd.
See you later, Jack Slater.
Jack Slater, he was right at the top of the U24 stats. Tim Gower's on this team.
Nick Williams on this team.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Morgan Garland's been really good for the U24s. Josh Hannum moving back after a stint at Chevy. Ollie Newton, he's had great speed. You saw him on the beach, Steph. He's a handy player.
Who?
Ollie Newton.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah. Riley Ross, if he's fit after he's picked up some injuries, but he's a solid player. Tawhid as well, who's On the last cycle of U24s, Will Collier,
We're
like
getting
steady,
some.
steady handler.
Saxby's been injured the whole season, is what Aiden's telling us. And Alba beat Bristol in pool play. Bold prediction. Alba, I guess that is Alba beats Bristol in pool play, is the bold prediction from Aiden.
Well, everyone knows that Bristol are chokers, right? Did you hear this, Steph? That this
I
may
mean,
be out of your sphere of
so they just made
influence.
themselves unchokable by winning a tournament without any competition. And now this
But
one will.
did you know that they were 12 or no, they were 13-5 in the lead in a game in that EUCS summer tour against Smash D, and Smash D went on a 9-goal streak to win on Universe 14-13.
I did not. That's shameful.
It's and you know it's they ended up winning the tournament. So who are we to judge? But they have those kind of moments. But
Yeah.
I kind of like it because it means they have the top end very, very high moments, like being Ranelagh in the final. That's huge. And I think that actually they do need a above expectations performance to knock off Smog, because I think Smog are just going to be able to roll out more depth when it comes down to it.
Wild. Let's go on.
I have it clear. I'll make my predictions, Steph.
Let's make our predictions while we're thinking. Since we didn't take a break today, just make sure you are subscribers and becoming, joining and being members of ULTI.TV and doing all those wonderful good things. Hitting the like button when you watch this, sharing, and all that stuff. And you can put your own predictions in the chat if you like. But now we will give ours. I should probably go first because I think I'll be influenced by your picks, because I have faith in your knowledge in the UK. So I'm going to go first. I will say the easy picks for me are Clapham Chevy. They're going to both win their pools and go undefeated through 3. Do I like your estimation of Smog? No jet on Chevy or Smashed. Bristol, notorious chokers. I'm actually going to take the chokers to take smaller bites and not chew so fast this time. And I will say that Bristol's going to get through. And I'll take my leap of faith on Smash D. So I'll say Smash D is going to win the big game to go against Smog Open. So that's my 4. I'll let you go your 4.
I'm dead chalk. I'm Clapham, Chevy, Smog, Bristol.
Okay.
Everyone's winning in the normal way.
And then, so semis, I will take chalk on the top 2. Clapham will dismantle Bristol. And Chevy will also dismantle Smashed, who will have snuck through.
So I have the same thing. Clapham and Chevy to the final. Who do you want?
And are you going to take Chevy? Because I'm not. I will say Clapham will win their 2nd consecutive UK championship.
Yeah, I think I agree. It feels like there's a better chance this year because Clapham don't have that losing hangover where they just want to stomp them into the ground quite so much. But Chevy, I could squint and see it a bit more if they didn't have such a disappointing summer tour. They had they struggled to compete there. I think they ended up finishing 5th, and weren't really that close to like your Wall Cities and your Hluts.
Right. I mean, yeah, Clapham are as far down in the rankings as we've seen in a very long time. On the European side of things, I think coming in as the 7 seed. But I just, like you said, they may not have the vengeful, we're going to dismantle you, but they're still, I think their season has been lackluster enough. They have kind of waited for things to start writing, their opportunities to have full rosters, and have gotten out of the way all the roster toying that they've needed, required with new coaching staff in. They've got that all of the way. They're going to come and this is going to be their first big serious hit, and they're going to win it. I'd say by 5 or 4. 4, I'll say.
All right, Clapham to win. Game to go. You've got Bristol smashed. I've got Bristol smog. Who takes it? This is for the WOC spot.
Yeah. I'm going to give it to the Rats. The Rats are going to... This is going to be their breakout tournament of the year. And the Rats are going to squeak through pool play and then, lose that semi, but then bounce back and take down whoever it is, Smog or Smash. The Rats are going to be plucky, and they're going to take it. I think you're gonna differ here, but I'll say, yeah, give it to Bristol. That's 2. I'm giving Bristol in women's, and I'm giving them the bronze, but the WOC spot in open.
I have it going Smog's way, and I have it not being too close. I have Smog by 6.
Damn, beat down. Rats can't hang with Smog in no land. Well, no, we were going to talk a little bit about EUCS as well, but we don't really have time. And we do have time to talk about how all that shook out before we go into EUCF. Next week, we'll wrap up a little bit of UK. We'll talk a bit about Swiss Mixed Nationals. That'll be coming up the week behind that. We'll squeeze in some EUC, S and F stuff. But I think it was good. We had a great chat, kept it UK based. We're going to the ham. So we will see everybody. What do we got? Leeds versus Kapow. Who wins? Okay, bottom. Who's taking the spoon? Who loses?
Yeah, Kapow is better than... I think I have more chance that Kapow beats a Smashed or an Alba in that bottom bracket than them
Leeds
losing to
beating
Leeds.
Kapow.
I think that Kapow are actually pretty solid.
So Leeds for the spoon. I'll back you on that one.
And like Leeds don't have Ollie Newton, Will Jackson, Harry Mason anymore. I don't think they're... Leeds only beat Cambridge by 1. I think they're in the pole position for the spin.
All right. Well, we will see all that and more this weekend from Nottingham. Make sure you are dialed in, locked in to ULTI.TV. Of course, all that action will be coming to you free to watch on the ULTI.TV YouTube channel. Saturday from just before midday. You won't get the first game of the day, but from then on out, all that action coming to your irises on your screens. Hopefully we'll get some BN1 on stream so we can watch Nono shake it down over there. See if he can...
God, as long as it's not against Heck again. Jesus.
What? You don't like playing against Heck?
We got killed by them. I got killed by them last year.
That's why you should want to play him even more, Nono.
Get the revenge. It's true.
Get that revenge, man. Come on.
No, we should stream that game. You are right.
Fill up the tank. Take it all in. But and we'll be back next week as always for all our crew, for Grabco in the back, for Noah, Nono Brinkworth. I've been Stefan Rabazzo. Thanks so much for joining Shot for Goal. We'll catch you all next time.